Everyone feels stuck at some point. It doesn't mean you're lost. It just means that you're ready for something to change. This is your quiet moment. Let's begin. Chapter 1. If you're looking, this is it. If you've been searching for something, peace, clarity, a gentle voice to remind you that you're not alone, then this moment, this story, is exactly what you've been looking for. Maybe you're sitting there, feeling the weight of life press down on your chest. Maybe the world is moving fast and you feel like you're standing still. Or maybe the days have slipped into one another so quietly that you barely notice you're stuck. That's okay. It's okay to feel stuck. It's okay to admit you don't have all the answers right now. What matters is that you've shown up, that you're listening, and that you're open to the possibility that even in this stuck place, growth is quietly happening. The quiet weight of being stuck. Feeling stuck is one of those emotions that's hard to explain to others because it's so invisible. There's no dramatic moment, no big explosion of pain or failure. Instead, it's a slow, quiet heaviness that settles in your bones. It's like walking through fog without a clear path. You keep moving your feet, but everything looks the same. You don't know if you're going forward or in circles. And the worst part, you start to believe that everyone else is moving ahead while you remain frozen. You're not alone. If you felt this way, exhausted by the endless to-do lists, tired of the same conversations, numb to the things that used to excite you, then know this. You're not broken. You're not lazy. You're simply human. Sometimes life asks us to pause, to rest, and to feel deeply before the next step can come. The stuck moments aren't failures. They're invitations to slow down, to look inward, and to rediscover what truly matters. A moment to breathe. Right now, take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly. Hold for a moment. Exhale gently. Feel the air filling your lungs, then leaving your body. Let the tension soften. Let the noise fade. In this quiet space, know that being stuck is not the end of your story. It's a chapter, a difficult, confusing, but important chapter, and there's more waiting for you on the other side. Chapter 2. The feeling that doesn't go away. Some feelings aren't loud. They don't scream or shout for attention. They whisper. They linger. They wrap around your days like a shadow that never quite fades. Feeling stuck is one of those feelings. It doesn't announce itself with fanfare. Instead, it settles quietly, almost sneakily, in the corners of your mind. It's the heaviness you can't shake, the restless ache beneath the surface. You might find yourself staring out the window for longer than usual, wondering when the fog will lift. You might catch yourself going through the motions, smiling at the right moments, nodding at conversations, but feeling hollow inside. It's a silent companion that no one else sees, but you feel every single day. Chapter 3. The Pressure to Be Fine. You doing okay? Yeah, I'm fine. It's the easiest lie in the world, and the one we tell most often. We say it automatically, like muscle memory. We smile so people don't worry. We nod so we don't have to explain. We keep moving so we don't have to feel. But the truth? Most days, we're not really fine. We're just functioning. And that's a very different thing. There's this silent pressure that builds over time, the unspoken expectation that we're supposed to have it all together, that we're supposed to be strong, productive, positive, grateful, always doing, always smiling, always holding it together, no matter what's happening inside. Even when we're unraveling, we keep saying, I'm fine, because breaking down doesn't feel like an option, because vulnerability feels like weakness, because we're scared that if we stop pretending, even for 1 second, we might completely fall apart. Art. But here's something that might surprise you. You're allowed to not be okay. You're allowed to pause. You're allowed to feel things fully, the sadness, the burnout, the confusion, the ache. You don't have to earn the right to be human. You've carried so much for so long. You've been strong in silence. You've smiled when your heart was heavy. You've kept going, even when it cost you. That's not weakness. That's resilience. But resilience doesn't mean you never get tired. It means you deserve rest, too. What if being real was more important than being fine? What if telling the truth, even softly, could be the most powerful thing you do? Imagine saying, I'm actually not okay right now. I feel overwhelmed. I need a break. I need help. Imagine giving yourself permission to speak your truth without guilt. You're not here to be a robot. You're not alive just to tick boxes and suppress your feelings. You're allowed to feel, and those feelings, even the uncomfortable ones, are part of your story. They're trying to teach you something, that you're not invincible. That silence isn't strength. That healing begins the moment you stop pretending. So today, let this be your reminder. You don't need to fake happiness to be loved. You don't need to be fine to be respected. You don't need to have it all figured out to be worthy. You're allowed to be messy. You're allowed to be in process. You're allowed to be real. Because being real is where the healing begins. Take a deep breath with me. Inhale slowly, hold, and exhale. Say this softly in your mind or out loud if you need to. I'm doing the best I can. And today, that is enough. You don't have to keep carrying everything in silence. Even if your voice shakes, speak your truth. Even if your eyes are tired, let them cry. Even if you don't have the words, just sit with yourself, with gentleness. You're not here to be perfect. You're here to be present, exactly as you are. And in this moment, you are more than enough. Chapter 4. When the days blur together. There's a strange kind of exhaustion that comes when the days all start to look the same. You wake up, but not because you're rested, just because the alarm told you to. You check your phone before you even breathe deeply. You move through your morning, your afternoon, your evening, not quite present, not quite gone. You're doing everything you're supposed to, but somehow it still doesn't feel like living. When the days blur together, it's not always burnout. Sometimes it's emptiness. Sometimes it's quiet sadness. Sometimes it's just numbness, a dull ache you can't quite name. You're not crashing. You're drifting. You keep doing the things. You smile. You answer emails. You show up. But something inside you isn't there anymore. Something inside is quietly asking, is this all there is? It can be hard to admit that you feel lost when your life looks fine on the outside. It's easy to feel guilty for being tired when you know others have it harder. It's easy to silence your sadness because at least you have a job or at least you're healthy. But that's not how emotions work. Your pain doesn't have to be the loudest in the room to matter. Your sadness doesn't need to be compared or justified. It simply wants to be heard. You are allowed to feel disconnected. You are allowed to question things. You are allowed to slow down. And you are allowed to admit, with honesty and without shame, I don't feel like myself lately. I don't know what I'm doing. I feel like I'm floating through my own life. This is what happens when we ignore ourselves for too long, when we live on autopilot, when we bury the things we want to say, when we give everything to the world and leave nothing for our own soul. You don't need to quit your job or move to the mountains to feel alive again. Sometimes all it takes is one deep breath, one honest conversation, one gentle decision to come back to yourself. So pause with me for a moment. Breathe. No distractions, no expectations. Just you and this moment. Inhale. Hold it. Exhale slowly. Let the fog settle. Let the weight soften. You're not behind. You're not failing. You're simply in a moment of awareness. And that's something to honor. Here's something to ask yourself today. Gently, not with pressure, but with curiosity. What is one thing I miss doing that made me feel alive? When was the last time I felt present, really present? What would I do today if I gave myself full permission to feel joy? These aren't questions you need to answer right away. Let them sit with you. Let them stir something inside. Because even if your days feel repetitive, your heart is still capable of change. You don't have to rebuild your whole life overnight. You don't need a dramatic awakening. You just need to notice what hurts and begin to listen again. Life is not meant to be endured. You are not here just to function. You are here to feel, to connect, to create, to breathe deeply, and know you are still here. And that means hope is still here too. Repeat this softly to yourself. Even if today feels the same, I can still choose presence. I can still feel something real. I can still come back to myself. The days may blur sometimes, but that doesn't mean you're lost. You are still you, underneath the tiredness, the routine, the noise. And that version of you is waiting, patiently, gently, to be remembered. Chapter 5. You're not lazy, you're tired. You keep calling yourself lazy. You scroll instead of getting up. You delay tasks. You sit in silence for too long. You watch the clock move and ask yourself, why can't I just do something? And somewhere in the background, a cruel little voice whispers, you're falling behind. You're wasting time. You're not trying hard enough. But here's the truth you need to hear. Not as motivation, but as comfort. You're not lazy. You are tired. There's a kind of tiredness that sleep can't fix. The kind that builds from years of pushing, pleasing, pretending. from showing up for others when you were barely standing yourself, from putting pressure on your shoulders to keep everything together. Always, you're tired because you've been carrying more than anyone knows. And somewhere along the way, you forgot that you're human, not a machine. Huh. We live in a world that glorifies hustle, rewards burnout, and calls constant productivity a virtue. So, when your body starts to slow down, when your spirit needs rest, the world tries to shame you into doing more. But what if your stillness isn't weakness? What if your exhaustion is simply a message that says, you've done enough for everyone else. Now it's time to care for you. Think about it. You're not lazy for not wanting to get out of bed. You're tired because your mind has been running marathons, full of worries, memories, hopes, and fears. You're not lazy for needing quiet. You're tired because the noise of the world has been too loud for too long. This is more than physical. This is soul tired. And soul tiredness requires more than coffee and motivation. It requires grace. Let's shift the language. Instead of asking, why am I so lazy? Try asking, what am I carrying that no one can see? Because deep down, you know it's not a lack of willpower. It's the emotional weight of unprocessed pain, constant performance, and hidden pressure. You've been in survival mode for so long that rest feels like failure. But rest is not failure. Rest is recovery, and you deserve it. Take a breath with me. Inhale, hold, exhale slowly. You're allowed to do less. You're allowed to unplug. You're allowed to move slowly, gently, mindfully, without guilt. Sometimes we confuse rest with weakness, but in reality, it takes strength to listen to your body, to honor your limits, to say, I need space. You are not a robot. You are a living, breathing being with emotions, energy, and needs. And today, your need might not be productivity. It might be peace. You've done enough for now. Truly, even if all you've done today is keep breathing, that counts. Even if you haven't ticked a single box off your to-do list, that's okay. Even if all you can manage is simply being here, that is more than enough. You are enough, not because of what you do, but because of who you are, even in rest, even in stillness, even in quiet. Say this softly to yourself. I am not lazy. I am healing. I am allowed to rest without shame. You don't have to push through everything. You don't have to fight your tiredness. You can sit with it. You can breathe with it. You can trust that when you're ready, energy will return. And when it does, it won't come from pressure. It will come from peace. Chapter 6. When you don't know what you want anymore. There comes a moment when you stop asking, what should I do? And instead, you start whispering to yourself, what do I even want anymore? It's a quiet kind of confusion, not chaotic or loud, but it lingers. It presses gently, like fog against a window. You're not breaking down, you're just drifting. You go through the motions. You wake up, work, scroll, respond, sleep, but it all feels like a blur, as if life is happening on the other side of a glass wall. You can see it, but you can't quite feel it. You used to care. You used to dream. You once lit up at possibilities, planned for things that excited you, believed in something more. Now, those dreams feel far away, like someone else's story. This moment, the one you're in right now, is the in between. You're not where you were, but you're not yet where you're going. And it feels uncomfortable, even a little scary. But let me tell you something important. This phase is sacred. Feeling unsure about what you want isn't failure. It's not laziness. It's not giving up. It's an invitation to pause, to reevaluate what actually matters to you, to release the things you've been chasing just because someone else told you they were important. Maybe the version of you from 5 years ago wanted something different. That doesn't make today's version of you lost. It makes you human and evolving. Ask yourself gently, what parts of my life feel heavy? What am I doing out of habit, not joy? What am I pretending to enjoy just to fit in or please others? And then ask, what kind of peace do I crave? What does enough feel like to me now? You don't need all the answers right away. The goal is not to rebuild your life overnight. It's simply to tell the truth. Because when you admit you don't know what you want anymore, you create space, space for clarity, for something new, for something real. The confusion you feel? It means you're waking up. You're realizing that the goals you once chased may no longer fit the person you're becoming. You're shifting, not into someone worse or lost, but into someone more honest. And maybe that's why this season feels so heavy, because the mask is coming off, because you can't fake it anymore, because your soul is asking you to stop living on autopilot. So if you feel like you don't know what you want, that's okay. It doesn't mean you're broken. It means you're listening more deeply than ever before. You're beginning to unlearn, to let go, to clear the noise, to find your own rhythm again. Say this softly to yourself. I am not lost. I am in transition. It's okay not to have a 5 year plan. It's okay to outgrow dreams. I am allowed to change. I trust myself to find what's real for me. This is not the end. This is not failure. This is a turning point. You may not know what's next, but you're brave enough to be honest about where you are. And that is the beginning of something more beautiful than before. Chapter 7. You're allowed to pause. You've been moving for so long, chasing deadlines, answering messages, showing up, staying strong. You've been in motion because life demanded it, or at least that's how it felt. But in all that motion, did anyone ever tell you this? You are allowed to pause, not because you've earned it, not because you've completed your to-do list, but simply because you are human, and humans need rest. We live in a culture that worships productivity. We measure our worth by what we accomplish. We wear busy like a badge of honor, as if exhaustion proves we're doing enough. So when we finally slow down, even just a little, the guilt sets in. The thoughts creep in. I should be doing more. I can't afford to slow down. If I stop, I'll fall behind. But none of that is true. Pausing is not quitting. Resting is not failure. Stepping back is not weakness. A pause is a sacred space, a moment of stillness to come back to yourself, to breathe without pressure, to think without noise, to feel what's really going on inside you. You don't need a crisis to justify rest. You don't need to crash before you take a break. You can pause simply because your body, your mind, and your soul need it. Think about nature. The seasons never rush. Winter is not less important than spring. It's just quieter. It's a time of stillness, restoration, reflection. And maybe this is your winter season, not a time to bloom or produce, but to go inward, to soften, to reset. If you're tired, it doesn't mean you're weak. If you're overwhelmed, it doesn't mean you're broken. It just means you need a pause, and that's okay. So today, give yourself permission to stop, just for a little while. Close the tabs in your mind. Put down the weight of expectations and sit with yourself, not to solve anything, not to plan the next big thing, just to be. Ask yourself gently, what am I carrying right now that's too heavy to hold alone? What do I need less of today? What could I let go of, even for 1 hour, just to breathe? Your body will answer. Your heart will whisper. If you're quiet enough, you'll hear it. Please, let me rest. This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you care enough to protect your peace, to honor your limits, to listen to your nervous system when it says, I can't go full speed right now. And in doing so, you build trust with yourself. You stop running on empty. You start filling your cup again. Ooh, here's a truth many forget. The pause is where the healing happens. The moment between the inhale and the exhale. The space between one chapter and the next. The silence between notes that gives music its shape. You're not falling behind. You're creating space for your next becoming. So let's breathe together. Right now, inhale slowly, hold, exhale, gently, again. Feel what it's like to do nothing but breathe. That breath, that pause, that's life too. And you are allowed to live at that pace. Repeat this to yourself. I am allowed to pause. Rest is not wasted time. It's necessary time. I honor my need for peace today. Take today as a quiet victory. You listened. You slowed down. You remembered that your worth is not measured by output. It's held in your presence. You are enough, even when you're still. And when you're ready, only when you're ready, you can begin again from a place of clarity, not pressure.
Chapter 8. Small steps still count. When you feel stuck, your first instinct is often to think big. You start searching for life-changing answers, massive breakthroughs, dramatic shifts. You think the only way forward is through something huge, some bold decision, some giant leap. But the truth? Small steps still count. In fact, they count more than you realize. You don't need to transform your entire life today. You don't have to figure out your 5-year plan. You don't need to become a new person overnight. What you need is momentum. Tiny, slow, quiet momentum. Getting out of bed when you didn't want to, that counts. Taking a shower even when your mind was foggy, that counts. Sending one email. Drinking water. Taking a walk. Pausing to breathe. Saying no when you usually say yes. These aren't small. They're not insignificant. They're proof that you're still moving. We often underestimate the power of gentle progress. Because it doesn't look impressive. Because no one's clapping. because you don't get a medal for trying again. But your soul knows. Your body feels it. Your spirit is healing in the background every time you choose one small act of self-respect. We've been conditioned to think that only the big wins matter. Graduations, promotions, huge transformations. But healing, growth, and personal change? They often happen in quiet corners. They happen when you get back up after a hard day, when you reach out instead of withdrawing, when you choose presence over distraction. And sometimes they happen when you simply don't give up. Progress doesn't have to be fast to be real. There's strength in slowness. There's power in patience. There's something beautiful about moving through the fog one gentle step at a time. Because every small choice to keep going is a rebellion against the part of you that says you can't. So today, ask yourself, what's one thing I can do, just one, to care for myself? What's one task I can begin, even if I don't finish it perfectly? What's one step I can take that my future self will thank me for? And then, do that one thing. Not because it solves everything, but because it proves you haven't given up. And that matters more than you know. Here's the thing about small steps. They don't always look like progress from the outside. But inside, they're reprogramming your nervous system. They're building trust. They're saying, I'm on my own side now. And when you're on your own side, when you stop fighting yourself, everything begins to change. You've spent enough time feeling like you're not doing enough. Enough time comparing your pace to others. Enough time being hard on yourself for not getting it together. Let this be the chapter where you shift the story. Let this be the moment you say, maybe I'm not failing. Maybe I'm just healing, slowly. So breathe. Give yourself credit not just for where you're going, but for how far you've already come. Every small act of self-kindness. Every time you kept showing up. Every time you chose peace instead of pressure. It counts. Say this softly to yourself. I don't have to move fast. I just have to keep moving. My effort is enough today. Small steps are still steps, and I'm proud of mine. You're not behind. You're not broken. You're rebuilding one breath, one choice, one day at a time. And that is more than enough. Chapter 9. Not everything deserves your energy. Your energy is sacred. Not because you're perfect. Not because you're always strong. But because it's finite, and it's what you use to build your life day by day. But here's the hard truth. We often spend our energy on the wrong things. People who don't value us. Fights that don't matter. Expectations we didn't ask for. Guilt that doesn't belong to us. And we wonder why we feel drained all the time. You don't owe your peace to everything that demands your attention. You don't have to carry every conversation, every opinion, every problem that isn't yours. Not everything deserves your explanation. Not everything deserves your reply. Not everything deserves your precious, limited, life-giving energy. Start protecting your peace like it's your home. Because it is. Would you let just anyone walk into your house, track dirt across your floor, and leave their chaos behind? No? Then why do you let people do that to your mind? You're allowed to close the door. You're allowed to walk away. You're allowed to say, this is costing me too much, I'm done. It's not selfish to protect your space. It's not rude to set boundaries. It's not cold to let go of people who make you feel small. It's responsible. It's wise. It's necessary. You cannot pour into your life or into others if your energy is leaking everywhere. Think about where your energy has gone lately. How much of it went to worrying about someone else's opinion? To replaying that one conversation over and over in your head? To trying to meet standards you never agreed to? And how much of it went to things that actually made you feel good? To creativity? To laughter? To moments of rest and truth? The way we spend our energy becomes our life. So we must be intentional with where it flows. Sometimes the bravest thing you can do is not react, not explain, not attend every argument you're invited to. You do not have to be available for drama. You do not have to fix things that aren't yours to fix. You do not have to carry stories that don't belong to you anymore. You are allowed to choose peace, even when it confuses others. You are allowed to disappoint others, if it means you stop disappointing yourself. Try asking yourself this today. Is this worth my energy? Will this matter to me in a week? A year? Am I doing this because I want to, or because I feel I have to? Give your energy to things that build you, that nourish you, that bring you back to yourself. Because you deserve to feel like your life is yours again. And here's something powerful to remember. Just because someone has access to you, doesn't mean they have a right to your energy. Energy is not unlimited. Even the strongest souls need rest. Even the kindest hearts need space. Your boundaries are not walls. They are bridges to a healthier version of you. One who chooses with intention. One who says yes with joy and no with clarity. Say this softly to yourself. I protect my energy because I value my life. Not everything deserves a response. I am allowed to be at peace even if others don't understand it. The more you protect your energy, the more you feel like yourself again. And that version of you, calm, grounded, unshaken. That's who you've been trying to become all along. Chapter 10. Peace is a practice, not a destination. You've been searching for peace like it's a place. Like it's somewhere out there waiting at the end of the to-do list, the perfect routine, the ideal version of yourself. You keep thinking, once I fix everything, then I'll feel calm. Once I get through this season, then I'll rest. Once I become better, then I'll finally be at peace. But here's the truth you might have forgotten. Peace is not a destination. It's not something you arrive at. It's something you practice. Over and over again. Peace isn't found at the end of your stress. It's found in the middle of it, in how you breathe through it, how you talk to yourself inside of it, how gently you carry yourself when everything around you feels heavy. You won't always feel zen. You won't always feel grounded. But peace doesn't mean perfection, it means presence. You don't have to wait until life calms down to feel calm inside. You can choose small practices. Daily, quietly, that anchor you. A deep breath before you reply. A walk instead of a scroll. A soft no instead of a pressured yes. A reminder whispered in the mirror. I am allowed to feel ease, even now. These are the building blocks of real peace. Most people think peace will happen after they finish everything. But peace happens when you stop letting everything control you. It's not about escaping the world. It's about learning how to stay soft in a hard moment. How to not abandon yourself when life pulls you in every direction. You can sit in a noisy room and still feel steady. You can face a hard day and still move with grace. Because peace is not about controlling the chaos, it's about not letting it control you. Think of peace like a garden. You don't plant it once and walk away. You tend to it. Water it. Protect it. Revisit it. Some days you'll forget. That's okay. Some days you'll snap. You'll fall into old patterns. That's okay too. The practice is in returning. Returning to your breath. Returning to your body. Returning to what matters to you, not the world, not the noise, but you. Ask yourself today, what does peace feel like in my body? What makes me feel safe, quiet, grounded? What noise am I ready to let go of? And then act on that. Even in small ways. Light a candle. Close a tab. Log off early. Take a walk alone without music, just you and the sound of your own steps. These are not luxuries. They're essentials. You are not behind. You are not doing it wrong. You are learning. Unlearning. Rebuilding. And real peace doesn't look like a calm lake all the time. Sometimes it looks like crying on the floor and letting yourself feel instead of pretending you're okay. Sometimes it looks like choosing silence over defending yourself. Sometimes it looks like walking away from a fight you could have won because your peace mattered more than your point. Say this softly to yourself. Peace is not something I wait for. It's something I choose today. Even if nothing changes outside me, I can change how I meet it. My peace is sacred. I am allowed to protect it. You don't have to go far. You don't have to become someone else. You don't have to wait for life to calm down. You can begin right now, right here, to live like your peace matters. Because it does. Because you do. And with each small step, each quiet moment, each gentle boundary, you are practicing peace. And that is more powerful than any destination. Chapter 11. You don't have to fix everything. You've taken on more than you were ever meant to carry. You've tried to be the strong one, the steady one, the one who holds it all together when everything around you feels like it's falling apart. You've become a fixer, of problems, of people, of pain. And you've done it quietly, out of love, out of habit, out of fear that if you don't handle it, maybe no one will. But here's something you may have forgotten. You don't have to fix everything. Not every broken piece is yours to glue back together. Not every storm is yours to stand in. Not every problem is asking for your solution. Sometimes the most healing thing you can do for yourself and for others is to step back. Not to abandon, not to run, but to acknowledge that your peace cannot survive the weight of everything. It's okay to care deeply and still protect your energy. It's okay to love someone and not be their savior. It's okay to see something hurting and still say, this is not mine to fix. Because when you take responsibility for everything, you slowly disappear inside it. Your needs fade. Your boundaries blur. Your identity gets wrapped in other people's pain, and you forget what you need, want, and deserve. And while you're busy fixing the world, who's taking care of you? Who's listening to your heart? Who's letting you rest? You can be a loving person and still have limits. You can be compassionate and still say no. You can be present without solving. Sometimes the most powerful thing you can offer someone isn't a solution, it's presence. A soft, "I'm here." A gentle, "I see you." A quiet, "You're not alone." You don't have to absorb everyone's pain to prove your loyalty. You don't have to prove your worth by sacrificing your own well-being. You don't have to keep showing up bleeding just to bandage someone else. That's not love. That's martyrdom. And you were not born to disappear for others. Let this be the moment where you come home to yourself. Let this be the chapter where you breathe. And realize you don't need to earn your rest. You don't have to solve everything to be enough. You don't have to be perfect to be loved. You are already worthy in your stillness, in your softness, in your unfixed and unfinished moments. Ask yourself this with honesty. What burdens am I carrying that don't belong to me? Where am I overgiving in ways that drain me? Who have I been trying to save when what they really need is to save themselves? And then ask, what would it look like to let go without guilt? What would it feel like to give myself back my own energy? This doesn't mean you stop caring. It means you start choosing where your care goes. It means you offer love with open hands, not clenched fists. It means you create space for others to rise rather than trying to carry them on your shoulders. And most of all, it means you give yourself permission to just be. Say this softly to yourself. I don't have to fix everything to be worthy. It's safe to let go. I deserve peace too. Let this be your healing truth. You are not responsible for everyone else's happiness. You are not required to solve every problem. You are not less kind, less valuable, or less loving just because you have limits. In fact, your limits are a gift to you and to everyone around you. You can still be a light, even when you choose not to burn yourself out. Chapter 12, Becoming Yourself Again. There's something quietly powerful about coming back to yourself. After all the noise, after all the roles you had to play, after all the masks you wore just to be accepted, just to feel safe, you start to hear your own voice again now. The one that got buried beneath expectations and comparisons and the pressure to always have it together. And that voice says, I miss who I was before the world told me who to be. You were never lost. You were just living in survival mode, doing what you had to do, becoming who you needed to be to get through things you never should have faced alone. But now you're healing. Not in loud, dramatic ways, but in the quiet way a sunrise happens. Slowly, softly, surely. You're not starting over, you're returning. To truth, to peace, to your own soul. Becoming yourself again doesn't mean going back to the person you used to be. It means becoming more honest, more present, more you. It means unlearning what hurt you. It means forgiving yourself for the ways you coped. It means choosing, day by day, to live from a place of alignment instead of approval. Let go of the need to prove. Let go of the idea that healing must be quick, loud, or impressive. Let go of the shame for how long it's taken you to get here. You didn't come this far to perform. You came here to feel free. Free to rest. Free to hope again. Free to show up as the real you, no apology, no explanation, no performance. Ask yourself with compassion. What parts of myself have I been hiding to be loved? What did I believe I had to be in order to be enough? And what if I am enough just as I am? Breathe. Let that truth settle. Because coming home to yourself isn't a one-time thing. It's a daily act of self-acceptance. A daily return to stillness. A daily whisper. This version of me is allowed to exist. You may never be perfect. You may never have all the answers. But you can choose peace. You can choose softness. You can choose to honor the life that still wants to bloom inside you. And that is more than enough. As this journey closes, as you reach the final page of this audiobook, take a moment to reflect. You made it here. You kept going. You showed up for yourself. And that means something. You don't need to rush now. You don't need to force the next step. Just breathe. Be proud of how far you've come, even if it doesn't look like anyone else's path. This is your healing. Your becoming. Your life. And it's unfolding exactly as it's meant to. Sealing a gentle invitation to grow together. If the story touched you, if you felt even one sentence speak to your heart, consider staying connected with us. Backhand index pointing right like this audiobook to let us know it mattered to you. Backhand index pointing right, subscribe to Daily Glow Audiobooks to join a space of peace, growth, and gentle reflection. Backhand index pointing right, and share this with someone who might need to hear these words, someone who's been carrying too much just like you once did. There's more to come. More healing. More softness. More stories to help you come home to yourself. Until then, remember, you're not behind. You're not broken. You're becoming. And every day, in every breath, you are allowed to start again.